Hey you all, once again welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are well and I hope you all have gone through my recent video lesson in which I have already started with a new chapter from your course book, that is chapter number 5, the mountain trail. So students, I have already given you introduction in that video. So in today's video lesson we will move further, but before proceeding you have to do 3 things for me. You have to like the video, you have to subscribe to my channel, and you have to share the video lessons with your friends and classmates. Alright, so let's get started.
Students, in the recent video lesson, we have discussed the introduction of the story by understanding the background of the story, okay, and some history about the leading figures of the revolt of 1857. So I hope you have already studied about those figures. They were Tatya Tope and Rani Lakshmi Bai, okay. So today we will cover the first part of the story. Students, here I would like to inform you all that this story is divided into 3 parts, okay. Part 1, part 2 and part 3. So today we will try to discuss some of the important events that took place in part 1st, okay. So let's see some of the highlights of part 1st. So students, the first part of the story introduces us to the 3 characters. And who were these 3 characters? Firstly, Sukram, the blind boy who was 14 years old. Secondly, Rajbir, and who was he? He was the brother of Sukram. So Rajbir was Sukram's brother, okay. And thirdly, Shivpriya Chauhan. Who was he? He was grandfather of Sukram, okay. So students, what happens that one day, as you all know, that Sukram used to herd his father's goat. So he was herding his father's goats and he was a herdsman. So one day he was sitting against a rock, relaxing himself and taking the warmth of the sun, okay. So he was taking his flute, he was sitting over there and he was feeling the nature, all the beauty which is around him, okay. So he felt as if the birds used to talk to him, and when he shared all these things with his father and Rajbir, they used to laugh on his fantasies. So they were thinking that whatever he was saying, all these things were his imagination, okay. So now what happens in the story, as you all know that this boy was blind. So he was 14 years old and he knew that people felt sorry for him. People used to always felt sorry for him, that this boy is blind, so how he will manage his life. But you know what was the best thing about this boy? Although he was blind, but he was very happy. And what was the reason for being happy? Because most of the time he used to pass his time by herding the goats, right? The goats of his father. And the second thing is that he used to spend his time in the nature, right, in the middle of nature. So that is how he was feeling connected. So whosoever birds were there or whosoever goats were there, he used that connection, okay, he felt that connection with them. So this is the reason that whenever this boy he was playing flute or he used to play flute, all the goats used to gather around him. Are you understanding? Because he was feeling connected with them, okay. So students, we can see that even the people, they were feeling sorry about this boy because he was blind, but he was a very different kind of person. He used to look at the brighter side of life, right? He was a very positive kind of person. So what happened? He used to spend his time herding his father's goat, and he was so familiar with these goats that he can, even identify them with their sounds. So as you all can see, it's written over there. Sukram spent his time herding his father's 100 goats. He knew them by the sound of their cloven hooves. Cloven hooves means the divided foot of cattle or sheep. Okay. He knew them by the sound of their cloven hooves on the stones and by their smell. So he was so familiar because he used to spend his time every day with those 100 of goats. Okay. So one day what happened, this was happening as a daily routine, okay. This boy, he used to play flute, and what happened, all the goats, they used to come across around this boy, okay. And one day what happened, while he had been on the mountain that day, Rani Lakshmibai, the Queen of Jhansi, declared war on the English and was joined by Tatya Tope. So he found his father and Rajbir saddling their horses, so they all set for the war. Okay, so their rifles pressing into his chest as they held him. Now, what happened? As the sound of hoofs faded into the distance, he felt his mother beside him. She put her arm about him. What we will do, Amma? He asked. So now this boy was very worried. Now, why he was worried? Because his father and his brother, they set for the war. Okay, they were pressing that rifles into his chest and they went from there. Okay, so now this boy, obviously he was a blind boy, so he was left alone there with his mother. Okay, he hasn't gone for the war. We are going, son. We are going to your grandfather's. So the mother said this. Okay, but it will be dark there. I do not know those fields, and how shall I graze my father's goat in a strange place where it's dark? For the first time, he knew what it was to be blind. So now this boy was quite afraid. Okay, he was afraid of dark because he was going to some unknown place. He was not knowing anything about it. Okay. So students, this first part ended in a confusion. Okay, this boy Sukram, he was unable to find or unable to see his brother and his father. So that is why he was inquiring, right? He wanted to know that where they are, because he knew that they have gone to the war, right? So he was waiting for them to return back. But since they have not returned, he was inquiring to those people who were resting over there, right? Those tired men who were resting over there.
So students, that's it for today's class. I hope you have understood the content well. So now I'll meet you all in the next video lesson. Till then, you have to keep on completing your assignments and you have to keep on learning. And yes students, before going, make sure you hit the like button, you subscribe to my channel and you share the video lessons with your friends and classmates. Goodbye. Take care.